All right, my guest still with me, Jennifer Bukowski, a criminal defense attorney, as well as Jennifer Shen, a crime lab director with the San Diego PD, retired now, but I believe still working in Chula Vista County. Let me ask you about gun residue evidence. We heard this testimony, I'll be honest with you, as a person, as a lay person as far as that goes. Wasn't sure what to make of it. As far as what you heard in the testimony, what did it tell us about this case and what happened there on that night?
Gunshot residue evidence is interesting, and we generally test for gunshot residue on someone's hands. And the reason we do that is because within a 6-hour period, someone who has fired a weapon or been in the environment of a firearm being shot will have gunshot residue disappear from their hands either by washing or wiping or sweating. So it's different when you look at a t-shirt or the inside of a car because you don't know how long that gunshot residue particle has been present. But like we talked about before, when you have motive, method, opportunity, plus the t-shirt that belongs to his daughter and a tire track that looks like his car and gunshot residue in his car, everything compounds the last thing until pretty soon there's so many things, it's very clear that he committed this crime.
So do you think, based on the way it was sort of testified to as the gunshot residue on the t-shirt, that perhaps she was maybe wearing the t-shirt? Like, how did the t-shirt come into play based on finding gunshot residue? Now, we know she was shot at point blank range in the back of the head, but you've got this residue on her shirt. How do you think it might have gotten there?
That's a great question. I don't know enough about the t-shirt to tell you. However, that just means the t-shirt was in the environment of a discharged weapon. So whether he used it to wipe his hands, whether he used it as a silencer, whether she was wearing it when she was shot, or he just used it to clean up, blood on the seat of the car. I mean, whatever it was in the vicinity of a fired weapon. And that's how come it has those particles that are specific to gunshot primer. Absolutely, to nothing else. So when you find those particles, that is where it came from. So it just puts the t-shirt in a fired, in an environment where a weapon was fired.
Now, Jennifer Bukowski, one of the ways that the defense tried to deal with this type of evidence was suggest, hey, a lot of people hunt. He was known to go shooting. He was a corrections officer, so was often practicing shooting, had guns, well known to have guns, that this gunshot residue could have come from a lot of different places, specifically the ones that were found in his car. How do you think they dealt with that evidence? Do you think they did a good job of that?
I think pointing out that a single particle on an interior of a car in Missouri, particularly rural Missouri, is really not that big of a deal. But I think the t-shirt, being a unique t-shirt, having gunshot residue and blood of the victim on it, that's pretty hard to explain away for the defense. The prosecutor said in closing that it appeared the t-shirt was unworn. The daughter said that he took those shirts to use as rags. They were kept with his guns. It could have been, I could just speculate. He could have wrapped it around as he held the gun to the back of her head to shoot her to kind of muffle the sound. We don't really know, but we know, as Jennifer Shen just pointed out, it was in the vicinity of a gun being fired. And it does have the victim's blood on it.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that was, again, to me, I thought that might have been the strongest piece of evidence in addition to the phone call. But I thought that as far as physical evidence, that was very strong. Jennifer Shen, love to get your thoughts on that. I thought that t-shirt, the fact that his daughter made those t-shirts and they were very much connected to the defendant, finding it at or near the scene was really damning.
I completely agree with you. The tire track is very good. But the t-shirt, because it's unique and she uniquely identified it as belonging to her, that absolutely connects him to that crime scene. And so I agree with you with the blood and the gunshot residue on that t-shirt at the scene. That is very, very powerful. Probably one of the most powerful pieces of evidence that was presented. I would agree with that.
All right, exactly. All right, we're going to take a break, ladies. Please stand by. When we come back, soon after Molly Watson's body